In Mahabharata, there's a story of Dronacharya teaching archery to Pandava brothers. At that time, the legend goes that people used to say that Dronacharya was very partial towards Arjun, and others obviously didn't like it. So he wanted to show that that was not the case, and there was something special about Arjun, which is why he admired him and liked him more. So what he did was he took all the Pandava brothers to a forest, and then on a tree, he kept a wooden pigeon. And then each of the brothers was given a task. They had to shoot an arrow, and the arrow had to hit the eye of the bird. That was the goal. So before they could shoot, he called each of the Pandava brothers one by one. So he started with Yudhishthir and called him and said, okay, so this is your target. Now just look at the target and tell me, what do you see? And Yudhishthir said, I can see the eye of the bird. I can see the rest of the bird. I can see the tree. I can see the branches. I can see other birds, the sky, and so on. So he said, okay, fine, you stand down. He asked him to step aside. Then he called the next brother. So one by one, he called everyone, and everybody gave similar answers. Then he called Arjun. Then he asked, tell me, what do you see? He said, I can only see the eye of the bird. Then he said, okay, now you may shoot the arrow. And then he released the arrow and it hit the target, hit the eye of the bird. Now, this is just a story. We can just leave it at that. But I think there is a very effective, powerful, and practical lesson on focus and productivity. And here is the lesson. If you think about what was Arjun able to do which others were not able to do, it is that everybody else did not just see the eye of the bird, but they could see lots of other things as well, which means their attention was being pulled by multiple things, and therefore they were not likely to be able to hit the target. When Arjun came, his mind could eliminate everything else and he could only see one thing. That is why he was able to hit the target. Now, if we translate that into our context, when we are doing some task at work and so on, in all those day-to-day contexts, what does the eye of the bird represent? What is it for us? It is the task that we want to focus on, the book we want to read, or some kind of official work that we want to do, whatever it might be. That is the eye of the bird, and everything else represents the tree and the branches and sky, etc. Those things are all the other tasks, maybe like 4 or 5 emails that are pending that we want to reply to somewhat urgently. Then our mind also goes to maybe notifications from our maybe Slack messages. Then we think about our Instagram, some update or some ping has come. All these things that are pulling us in different directions, these are all the distractors. Now, for this discussion, let's put aside Instagram, everything else. Let's just look at all the other tasks. So let's say I'm the person, I want to focus on a particular task, but right now there may be, say, total number of 10 tasks, just hypothetical. 10 things which I think are sort of equal priority or comparable in priority. Now, what happens is we pick one task, but our mind has not given up on the other 9. So while working on this task 1, what happens is in the background, we're also thinking, what about those other things? And then quite often we leave this thing and we switch to something else. Maybe sometimes it's just a rationalization. We'll just check this email for a few minutes or do this quick thing and come back. But nothing is ever quick. More importantly, every context switch, it breaks our focus and makes us unproductive and inefficient. So then the question is, if we have those 10 tasks or 10 things that we want to do, how do we let go of the remaining 9 things? Now, it turns out that this is something that you have probably already done on many occasions. Think about last time when you had a reasonably tight deadline on probably some official work. Now, if the deadline, let's say, was tomorrow, say 6 p.m., what happens? If I know tomorrow the deadline, then, and if the deadline is such that I just have barely enough time to get the work done, what will I do? My mind will let go of everything else. And then only that one thing is left, like the eye of the bird. Now, why am I able to let go of other things? Because my mind says, you know what, for now, those are not important. Those are not a priority. What have I done here? What has the deadline done? It has helped me take one task and increase its priority and take everything else and lower their priority. This is what has allowed my mind to focus on the actual task for the next 1.5 or 2 days. And then it gets done and we feel very good about it. So effectively, what this legend from Mahabharata is telling us is that it's talking about, believe it or not, As strange as it sounds, it is talking about prioritization. So the next time you want to get something done, don't just jump into a task and get started. Look at all the things that are right now top of your mind. And then using whatever framework you want. Today, that's not the topic of discussion, whether you want to think about the urgency, the importance, or you want to use an Eisenhower matrix, that's up to you. We are not discussing that right now. I'm saying whatever matters to you, whether it's urgency or importance or impact, etc. Look at the thing that you care about and then pick one thing as a priority. And then tell yourself everything else, all the remaining 9 things, you have to eliminate. That is the key. Once you are able to decide, okay, this thing is going to be my priority for the next 2 hours or next half a day, whatever it is, and then you let go of everything else, at that point now, your mind is ready to focus. You are now recreating the same kind of effect that you had during the deadline. And what's the key? The key is not just picking up the right thing or not just picking up one thing. The key is letting go. Always, the key to focus and concentration is letting go. It is elimination of every other thing. That leads to single-pointed focus, and that leads to intense and very satisfying productivity. So next time you want to be productive, prioritize, pick one thing, drop everything else, and then go. That's a lesson from Arjun.